I was like, this guy must be crazy. You must be crazy to think that I'm such an idiot and I have money growing somewhere that I will just go and give it to you. All right, so today is actually Thursday, February 29th of 2024. And this morning at 9:45, I had a hearing with an organization. It's a government organization here in Mexico, actually. It's all over the country. And it is called Profeco. So put that in the video, Profeco. So Profeco, it is actually an abbreviation, and it stands for, okay, I'm gonna read it out, take my time. It stands for Procuraduría Federal del Consumidor. And Oficina de Defensas del Consumidor, Zona Metropolitana de Merida, Yucatán. So I guess I should have probably put that into Google Translate. So pretty much Federal Consumer Procedure and Oficina de Defensas, Defense Office of Consumers. Zona Metropolitana, so for the city of Merida. So anyway, yeah, that's just besides the point, Profeco. So pretty much it's like a human rights government organization. So a friend told me about it. So why am I working with Profeco? Now, I am working on a construction project right here in Merida. So I'm supposed to be building a 2-story, 2 units building. And I contracted a guy who had a company, in the past, called Kava Construcciones. So that's the name of his company. And this guy's name is Gabriel. Yeah. Jorge, Gabriel, Valencia, Trava. Yeah, I am exposing him. So that's his name, and his company name is Kava Construcciones. So yeah, I contracted him, and then, we were working on the projects. I started out with the Plano Arquitectónico. It's like the architectural plan. So, he worked with the architect. She did a really good job, fantastic job. Everything looked beautiful. And then the next step, we had to work on demolition. So this took like pretty much the whole of 2023. So I'm talking between January when I first contacted him, because I was talking to a few people. So this guy came recommended by somebody that I know, and he has worked with her, but on a very small project, renovation. And so he worked for her and her neighbors. So in like the colonial, like the neighborhood that they were living in. So I was like, okay. And then, I was also talking to a few other people, but the reason why I chose this guy was because he was very fast and responsive with his messages. I went to his office, everything looked good, clean, and professional. And I just thought, okay, let's go with him. Because there was another guy I was thinking of going with, but he was taking like 1 week to respond to my messages. So I just thought, okay. So anyway, so I just went with him, and also, he looked professional and everything. So everything was good, well and good. Construction, signed that contract, done, dusted. Okay, now next thing, let's start building. And that's where everything went down south. So I signed the contract for the construction. I paid the 40%, which was excessive. Paid the 40%, and then he gave me a payment schedule, which was supposed to, be in line with the construction schedule. So, but as soon as I signed that contract, and then for some reason every week, so I signed the contract on Thursday, October 5th, 2023. And then they were supposed to start on Monday, right? Because I was talking with him, and then we were going back and forth with the contract, checking the details, checking everything, asking him questions. So he knew, obviously, this project is going to start anytime soon. He told me he had people already. So come Monday, and then the next thing I received the message, oh, sorry, like the workers are still finishing up a project on another location, and so they can't start this week, they're going to start next week. So already the starting date of the construction was already now running behind. I was like, okay, sure, all right, no problem. I mean, that sort of makes sense. Okay, following week, okay, now they started. He has a WhatsApp group with me, him. The architect eventually, he removed her because her job was already done. His assistant, and then his business partner. I think that was really his employee. So yeah, so it will communicate from that WhatsApp group, or sometimes his business partner will communicate as well from that WhatsApp group as well. So yeah, the following week we started, and then and then I held off payments because obviously the project now is like behind. So, and also I just paid him a bunch of money not too long ago, and then I think maybe a couple weeks later, his assistant then, because that girl left, I don't know, he had to hire somebody else, and so that girl reminded me, hey, you're behind on payments, da 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 da. And then I was oh, okay, well, you're right. Okay, because according to the contract, it says, obviously, I had the payment timeline. If I'm late, there's a particular additional fee. But I knew, obviously, it's not going to contest that, because then I'll be like, listen, the project is already behind. And I paid her. So I sent the payment. I made that payment. It was a weekly payment, so it's like whatever that was left over. So he broke it down into 7 additional payments, I believe. And then I would just pay that. So I paid that, and then again, so I was communicating with this Jorge Gabriel guy, and then every week there was always an issue. Oh, the workers aren't showing up. Oh, the suppliers are not delivering. Or we placed an order, but the truck for the suppliers, so the truck is broken. Oh, it's raining. It was just it was every week there was something. And then sometimes you'd be like, oh, the workers aren't here, so they'll come next week. And then so then they'll continue, they'll just build something, was a little bit. So there was tiny bit of progress. So it wasn't like it took the money and it just ran. So, there was like a little bit of progress, just tiny bit. Even though he told me the workers would work from Monday to Saturday, about maybe 40 hours in total, and he had about 5 workers. But when you go there, you see, okay, so you guys started working a month or so ago, 5 of you guys working, let's say 40 hours a week or 40 plus hours a week. I don't see any progress that reflects what I'm supposed to be seeing. So yeah, just a bunch. And then the project was supposed to be done in December 31st. So it was supposed to take 3 months, because at least, just to, maybe not finish completely, because I understand sometimes things might go wrong. So at least just have something there. 2-story, have something there. And so just keeping quiet, because we're like, this guy obviously doesn't respect contract. Because if he knows this project is supposed to be done in a couple weeks, and it looks 15% done, and it's already November. And so again, and then his new assistant, and then he told me, okay, so what happened was I was asking him for a project timeline. So the project timeline tells you, okay, this week he would work on this, this week he would work on this. This guy took 2 months. I asked him for the project timeline in, I think, end of October. He sent it to me in like December. So it took 2 months pretty much to send me this. Every time I ask him, it will tell me, oh, his assistant quit, and now he's looking for a new assistant, and he's also working with his other client, working on the other project. Now, before I paid this guy a lump sum of money, he wasn't busy. Now all of a sudden he's busy. So, and then just whatever, and then I will keep reminding him every week, oh, I'll send it today, oh, I'll send it tomorrow, I'll send it whatever. Eventually 2 months later, he sent me the project timeline. And what was even more annoying was the fact that I was telling him, okay, my lease ends in December. This project was supposed to be done in December, meaning January I was supposed to move in, and my landlord are supposed to start looking for new tenants in January. If not, I might have to sign a new contract. And here in Yucatan, Merida at least, when you sign a new contract, you pay. Like every year you have to sign a new contract and pay. Or I guess you can sign for multiple years at a time and just pay that one fee. And then this guy was still giving me excuses. Oh, I'm busy. My assistant. I'm just like, but you just hired somebody else. Like, you have a new assistant now. So, oh, this and that. And then the audacity, guys, the audacity was that now the new assistant now messaged me like, hey, okay, you're behind on payments. You owe us 4 payments. Da, da, da. Even though I was waiting for this guy to send me a simple work breakdown structure, like a project timeline. Like, he only had to sit in front of his computer for maybe 2 hours, because obviously, you have the template, you have everything already. Just, okay, based on my project, maybe normally this would take 2 weeks, but because I have a small project, it would take 1 week. Just, you have the template already. Just go in, customize it based on my project, send it. But this guy took 2 months. So yeah, but then I was still very naive, because then I was, okay, I really want this project to be done. Let me just send in all the payments, because eventually I still have to pay anyway. I pay now or I pay later on. So I paid, and by then I had paid 70% of the contract. 70%. So this was my biggest mistake, what I regret the most, because I shouldn't even have paid him more. I shouldn't have paid him more after the 40% I gave him, right? So that was my mistake. I mean, I was honoring my part of the contract, right? So I paid him that, and then eventually he sent me the project timeline, and then this was like maybe almost Christmas. So I knew obviously this project isn't going to be done on the 31st. Now, I never brought up the contract, because I'm like, obviously this is a contract that you created, and I read through the contract. I even translated it from Spanish to English to make sure I understood. There was a penalty there that says that if he delays on the contract, or if he delays delivering the project by the particular time he stated on the contract, and now he owes me money that he has to be paying. So I didn't say anything. I just kept quiet, because I'm like, obviously you sign a contract. You know how contract works. I just kept my mouth shut. Every time it gives me excuses, I'll just say, okay, sure. Because people like that, really, there isn't much you can do. Maybe arrest them with the police, but you physically, it's like there isn't much. So I just said, okay, sure. And then December, his assistant again came back. Hey, so you still owe us some money? Because remember I said 70% I had paid from the contract. But what I was seeing was like 15%. And then, hey, you're behind again on your payment timeline, da da da. I was just like, the audacity. The audacity. Now, I didn't message the Gabriel guy himself. I was going to message him, but again, because this guy has been making up excuses, lies, I knew he was going to come up with a new lie, a new excuse. I just didn't tell him, because I assumed his assistant would have told him what I said. I was like, the audacity. I paid you guys like 70% of the contract, and I don't know, because obviously you are new and you only work from the office, so you might not know what's going on ground. But this guy, your boss, he has only made about 20-30% progress. So meaning right now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm way ahead of you guys when it comes to payment, because payments are, the building are supposed to be reflected in your payment. I'm like way ahead, right? Like I pay you guys on time. For me, I feel like I paid too early, as a matter of fact, and I paid too much. But your boss here is always giving me excuses. So why don't you go tell him to go use the money that I've already paid him, to work on the project up until a certain amount. And when I've seen how much I've given him, okay, so he has actually spent everything that I've sent him. Okay, now I can now start resuming payments. For now, I'm going to pause, because now I pay you guys, and then what's going to happen? Your boss quits on me, or something happens, he makes up an excuse. Now, this was on December 20th. So first week in January, we had an issue with the neighbor next door, because this guy's workers broke into that person's property, and they just, I was like, what is going on? My property is big enough. Like, I don't understand why they broke into this guy's property. They broke in, and then they turned, like, there was a little piece on his land. They turned that into like a warehouse to keep stuff. Even though he told me before even signing the contract that they're gonna create like a storage on the property, and then keep the supplies and everything in there, to protect it from the rain and such. So when I saw everything, I was just like, okay, because it was just an empty land, and by then I didn't even know who the owner was. So I was thinking, 3 months projects, we're gonna be done, fix everything back, clean up, and then like it'll be as if nothing happened, right? So I wasn't bothered by it. And then the owner of the land next door now shows up, because I think somebody gave him the 411. He shows up. I think he showed up one day. There was nobody there. Even though this guy told me after the holidays, come January, they will resume working because now the project is behind. I met up with him last week in December, right? For him to just come, show me what's going on. And like, what the hell? Like, why is this project taking long? Again, I was still very calm because, well, my Spanish wasn't that great. And also, it's like, some people, it's better to just get somebody else to just deal with them in some cases, right? Just get somebody else who is like a third party to just deal with them. Because if you try to, deal with things by yourself, then it's like, it's just going to cause more stress. And then I didn't tell him about the conversation I had with his assistant. Like, hey, your assistant was asking me for more money. As you can see, obviously, you guys haven't even spent 30% of what I've sent you. Like, I've sent you guys way more money than what you spent on this project. Well, I didn't tell him that. And so, I mean, this guy, like I said, he sent me the project timeline, like mid-December. And so I was going through the project timeline with him, like, hey, so he says, So, and then I asked him, so realistically, how long is this project going to take? Like, when are you going to finish? Right? He told me, okay, mid-February, come January, after the holidays, the workers will be back working, we can resume. Now, after the holidays, so the owner of this land next to me, it's like an empty land. It looks abandoned, but somebody owns it. I think he came one day, there was nobody there. Came the following day, nobody there. And then he brought the police, apparently. I was like, damn, this is the second time somebody will call the police on my project. Like, what is going on? I was really pissed. And then he said the guy left a note. He called him, and he wanted him to meet up with him where he lives, which is like 2 hours away from Merida. And this guy was, okay, on Saturday morning, I'm going to go. I was like, wait, hold on. Who is the owner of this project? Like, I'm the project owner. Like, I hired you to do a job. Before making any decisions, before agreeing on anything, you consult me. You get my approval. Like, what the hell? Like, why are you going to discuss something that has nothing to do with you? That whatever you guys discuss that's going to cost money, it's coming out of my pocket. And then I told him in the WhatsApp group and also privately, whatever happened in this meeting, I do not approve it. And that's all I'm going to say. So you guys discuss anything, say anything. I mean, because anything that happens in the future, this guy will come after me because obviously I'm next door to him. So, and then I had to tell him multiple times because I was telling him, hey, ask the guy to come to the property, come to the land, and then he can tell us what his problems were, his issues were. Because we obviously cannot discuss something that about a particular property that's in a different municipality. Like, let's meet in this municipality, talk about it, and then we can show you stuff, and then we can, sort of mediate the issue, right? Like, do not go all the way to, his town, wherever he lives, which is like 2 hours away. Let's meet back on the site, and then obviously he can point to things, and then we can take pictures, for the record. This guy was insisting on going. I'm like, bro, like, this is my project. Like, what the hell, man? And then eventually, he just quit. And then he told me, okay, well, for now, we're just going to pause on the project. We're not going to do anything because I don't want anything that would affect my company and I was like, okay. Just about 2 weeks ago, I was telling your assistant that I'm not going to pay you guys one more peso because now I risk you guys quitting on me for one reason or the other, because this happens a lot. Construction fraud, it's universal. It happens at anywhere and everywhere. Like, they come up with an excuse after they've already taken your money and they run. I was like, wow. So just 2 weeks ago, I was just telling his assistant, like, hey, I'm not sending you one more peso until I see what you guys have spent my money on. And now this guy is about to dip just because of one challenge. And then eventually, and then I called the guy and spoke to him. It was very good. And then I had to call this guy. Now, all of a sudden now, like I mentioned, Gabriel now is busy with everything. Before, he would send me messages at night or sending messages at night because he's busy, daytime, whatever. Send me messages at night. Because I think the guy came on Wednesday. So I found out about the issue on Wednesday. He told me it was going on Saturday. So Wednesday night, he told me. Thursday, he told me he will call the guy to see if he will come back to Merida and then we can mediate on the issue. Thursday, okay, he told me he hasn't heard from him. Okay, Friday, right? Because obviously, because this guy was determined to go all the way to this municipality where this man lives to go and mediate about something that concerns me, my project. And then on, was it Friday was when he was like, okay, yeah, so sorry, I'm just going to leave that, leave the issue, or just let you and this guy sort it out. My blood was boiling. Because I was like, the issue this guy had, which you told me he had, even also after talking to him, this issue had to do with you and your workers, what they did. Right? Now, I'm coming in because whatever you guys discuss, it'll have an effect on me, because now it might cost me more money or whatever. Hey, let's settle it this way. The issue the guy had about you guys breaking into his property, breaking the fence, breaking the wall, breaking whatever, I didn't do that. That's your company. But again, somebody like that, like, you can't reason with them. At least not by yourself. Like, maybe somebody else can reason with them. So and then this guy told me, I was trying to contact him on Friday night just to make sure, he doesn't go anywhere, and then I'll turn around and charge me for it. So and then I was trying to message him like, hey, what's going on, da 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 da. I spoke to the guy, this is what's going to happen. And I was like, oh, I'm busy with my family. This was like maybe 6:30 p.m. or 7 p.m. or something. So it wasn't like I was messaging him at like 11:30 p.m. Usually, I've messaged him several times around that time, because like I said, he's usually busy with his projects, like it says. So I was like, okay, well, sure, just coming back. No, this was on Thursday. I was okay, yeah, no problem. Just coming back, tomorrow when you're free. I waited the whole day on Friday. This man didn't call me because he was busy with his other project. Now, I'm a client, remember, and I paid him, right? So it wasn't like he was doing me a favor. I paid him. And remember I said I paid him way more than what I could see from the project. But now he has my money, he's now busy with his other clients. So going back and forth, so now I was messaging the WhatsApp group so that his workers, like his team members, could see like this guy is like not professional. Yeah, and then on Saturday morning when he was actually supposed to go to see this guy, he didn't go because now again he's busy with his other projects. So I was like, okay, so you told somebody you were coming and now you're no longer going. So thank God I had called the guy to tell him, hey, okay, so let me talk to Jorge Gabriel first, because I think it's better for you to come here. But he was insisting on going all the way to meet him because he had already come two times and there was nobody there, right? So he doesn't want to waste his effort, gas, everything coming back. So I asked Gabriel, eventually after 2 days he called me and I was like, hey, you know what? The issue that this guy has to do with you. If it has to do with me, I would have gone resolve the issue. But obviously, like the things he talked about, that's on you guys. Like he mentioned about having supplies, having things on his property. I physically can't go because those aren't my stuff. You guys put them there, you have to remove them. So call this guy, talk to him on the phone so you don't have to go all the way. Like drive all the way 2 hours because like you just said right now, you're busy with your other projects. So I'm thinking, okay, so if I had not called this guy would have been waiting and expecting him to come and see him. But he didn't show up because he was busy with those other projects. That's if he actually had projects going on. So then he eventually called the guy. They spoke for maybe 25 minutes, a little bit over 20 minutes. He sent me the screen capture, and then he summarized what they talked about, and so what they intend to do about it. So which was build the wall back up between my property and his property. Even though he could have mediated with the guy, but like, okay, because again, this is why I was insisting on him not going. I think next time I would have actually requested for a conference call, because it's like the wall, because this was an empty land. There was nobody living there, no house, nothing, right? So we could have built the wall back up at the end of the project. Just tell him, hey, this is our plan. In 2 months, we're going to be done, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we're going to do everything else that you mentioned, as an apology, right? But so they agreed, and then, yeah. And then the following week, and then he started rebuilding the wall. right? So now before that, he had a portable toilet on this man's land because it's like we shared. So my property and this man's property was one unit, but because Merida was growing, a lot of people were like this decided to start breaking down their properties, right? So if it was like a large piece of land, they would just break it up into multiple chunks. So you'd have building A, building B, building C, D, E, and so on and so forth. So mine was I think the original, and his was A or something. So we used to it used to be one line. That's why there was like a small piece of structure left on his land, because that small piece of structure was like like the whole building for like my own part. Now we eventually demolished everything, including the wall. So they had the portable toilet there, which hadn't been cleaned out in several months, several weeks. I mean, it took him 2 months to eventually get somebody to remove that toilet. So he had it, and then they built the wall. And so now there's a toilet on this man's land. You have a wall. So when I got there and I saw that, I was like, so what's going to happen to that toilet now? Like, how are you guys going to remove it? And they were like, oh, okay. So they had to eventually raise it, bring it back, and bring it over to my side. But unfortunately, they couldn't do that because that toilet was full. It needed to be changed and cleaned out. But they haven't done that in a long time. Again, I called Gabriel. Okay, so this is the issue. What's going on? Again, more lies and excuses. He paid the company already, but they're not coming to change the toilet. Something and something. Again, more excuses that he came up with that. But anyway, so he built the wall. I mean, he built it. And then the same week that he built this wall, this was like second week in January, apparently somebody hacked into his account. And he would need his bank would need about 72 hours to investigate. So I was like, hack? Okay, but I mean, that happens. Okay, 72 hours, I'll wait. All right, now it's been 72 hours, that's about 3 days. Okay, now it's about 5 days. And then he sent another message in the WhatsApp group. Oh, sorry, Adola. So we're going to pause on your project because, like I said, about my bank getting hacked. So right now I don't have any more money to spend. So actually what happened, let me go back a bit. So yeah, so he messaged me like 10th of January to tell me that his bank was hacked. He needs 72 hours. And hey, here's his other bank account, his business bank account, and that I should keep sending money to that account while his bank investigates this other account, which has 70% of what I've invested in the project. Now, the last time I paid him was on the 15th of November, 2023. Now, he was messaging me like 10th of January, so about 2 months afterwards, that his bank has been hacked, and so he can't access that account. But in the meantime, so he can continue with the project, I should pay to this other account. The audacity again. I was like, again, I mean, like I'm just thinking and such. I was like, this guy must be crazy. You must be crazy to think that I'm such an idiot and I have money growing somewhere that I'll just go and give it to you. After I've given you this much money, but I don't even see, the progress. So let's say I paid him 70% and I saw 60%. Then at least I would have believed his lies and now paid to that other account. Like, okay, well, in the meantime, while we figure out how to get this 10% that's stuck in this account, okay, let me pay you this money and then, let's continue with the project since it's already behind. I was like, excuse me, I paid you this much money and I didn't see the progress and now you expect me to pay you. So let's say even if I had paid him, let's say the other 30%, right? But like I said, I was only seeing 15%, right? I paid in 70%. How much would that be? 55, right? So now what's going to happen to the other, let's say 55% that's stuck in this account that's hacked? Like, do you think I'm crazy? Now, you think I'm going to now keep paying you money like it's like I just have money like just growing somewhere. I was like, no, I'm not paying you that money. Like, just, okay, you said 72 hours. Let's wait 72 hours for your bank to, to figure out this issue, give you back your money. Obviously, this is an issue between you and the bank. The bank will sort it out. It's between you and your bank. All right, let's wait. After 5 days, because 72 hours is what, 3 days. After 5 days, this guy came back in the WhatsApp group. Oh yeah, so I need to be crying right now, actually, not even laughing. I should be crying. So yeah, you're like, yeah, so we're gonna pause on the project because, like I mentioned about my bank getting hacked, I can no longer continue with the project because so that was when I was like, okay, this is it. This is like the final straw. This is, because it's like before I was like, okay, sure, because like when someone is lying to you, but like you just play along, you just act stupid, you act dumb because they think you're dumb. Okay, now play dumb. Okay, you think I'm a fool, or I'm gonna pretend like I'm a fool, right? Like, I met you in this world. Like, this guy is about 33, 34. 33 then when I signed, because I actually have his ID and such, like his date of birth. Because I'm a woman and I'm a foreigner, you think I'm an idiot. You think I'm a fool. You think I'm stupid. Like, what? So I was like, yeah, you know what? This is it. So again, I tried, because again, I was still being patient. So after a week again, so it's been maybe a week and a half since his account was hacked. Okay, so what's the progress now between you and your bank? Have you heard from them? I was like, oh no. Actually, no, they're still working on it. And as a matter of fact, now he might have to move out of his current office because his business partner, which is actually his employee, because his business partner's father owns that house, and he wants him to move out. And this and that, and it's affecting his company, and it's not only affecting me as his client. He has other clients that are getting affected as well. He feels stuck. I was like, okay, sure, because again, I'm stupid, right? No problem. Following week, hey Gabriel, so what's the update now? Oh, okay, so actually, you know what? So he'll probably come up with a payment plan to pay me back, or what he can do is, okay, so I can pay, so I don't have to pay him, but I'll buy the supplies, and I'll also pay the workers directly, and he will manage the project, and then they can finish the project. Again, I was like, this guy still thinks I'm an idiot. So far, I haven't crossed him out, because it's like, I think I need to improve on my Spanish first. It's like, okay, but you still owe me money though. Like, where am I supposed to get the money to pay these guys to buy supplies when you owe me money? Like, where am I supposed to get the money from? The reason why I stopped, when your assistant came to me before your account was hacked for me to keep paying, was because you guys were not, I gave you money, but you didn't use that money on my project. And again, when you told me your account was hacked, I told you I don't have any more money. Why? Because my money is stuck with you with this supposedly hacked account. So again, so I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm done with this guy, because this guy obviously thinks I'm an idiot. He thinks I'm a fool. And then I messaged a friend of mine whom I met, after I started working with this Gabriel guy. I messaged him. I was like, because he's a civil engineer as well. Hey, okay, anything about construction and that. I told him my issue. Oh, this guy was upset. It was like upset on my behalf. And then he was the one who told me about Profeco. Now, when he told me about Profeco, he didn't know how much money I had already invested. He didn't know, because then I was still trying to manage it, keep it cool, keep it in. But he told me about Profeco, and then I went to Profeco like mid-January. I went January 17th. That was when I went to file my case. And then again, I was like, because every day I'll wake up with anxiety. Like, my heart will be just racing, like I'll wake up like, oh my gosh, because it's a lot of money. So right now I cannot disclose the amount until the case has been finalized. But it's like the average person's salary for about 4 to 5 years in this city of Merida, because they don't really make as much. So it's like somebody's salary for 4 to 5 years, depending like where they work and such, that I invested with this guy that he just took and well, ran. Let me just say ran, even though we're still in contact with him. So eventually, I went back to this friend of mine, and then he told me, okay, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna need lawyers, because I was communicating with him before, like translating using Google Translate or whatever. I was like, okay, I need somebody else to just take over this issue, because now it's like, because like I was getting stressed out, anxiety, slowly going into depression. I was like, no, I need a third party, like a third party, like to just handle this situation for me. So, and then I asked him, hey, can you recommend a lawyer? And then he told me, hey, you know, his parents had some issue with their properties, and this guy, like his dad, because it's like the whole family, they're all lawyers here in Merida. So yeah, and then he sent me their contact, and then yeah, and then I contacted them pretty much at the beginning of February. And yeah, so they have been so great. So and then what? So I met up with these guys on, I think it was on a Tuesday. Yeah, it was on a Tuesday. I met up with them. I went to their office, met up with them, and then I told them, I was like, hey, by the way, I'm supposed to meet up with this Gabriel guy, and my friend, right, who referred me to you guys, also referred me to Profeco. We're supposed to meet so you can just explain like freaking what's going on to this friend, because as of now, I'm done. So and I was like, okay, by the way, if you guys are available tomorrow at this time, I'm supposed to meet with them if you can come, right? Because he didn't know I was showing up with lawyers. He knew I was coming with a friend who is also a civil engineer like himself. And they were like, yeah, sure, we'll come. All right, this guy, it was like less than 24 hours notice. This guy actually came, the both of them, like the lawyer guy and his legal associate or assistant, who happens to be his cousin. So showed up, and I think that was when this guy knew what time it was. Like, and because it's like, I gave you this much money, you thought I was just gonna walk away? Like, oh damn, I'm just gonna walk away? Like, I think this guy thinks I'm an idiot. So anyway, so I went to Profeco on the 17th of January, and then they gave me a date for a hearing on the 29th. So like 6 weeks afterwards, they gave me a date for a hearing, and then they contacted him. It took several weeks to contact him because they took his personal address, his office address, which now no longer exists because, like I said, he moved from that location. So he moved like around February or such. So yeah, so fast forward to the 29th, to which is pretty much today. So we had the hearing, and Profeco, damn, it's a government organization, and they need to invest in their everything, infrastructure, the system, the computers, the furniture. I mean, you can tell they're old, but they're still in a really good standard. Because the first time I went, the lady, who took my case, I think she made an error with the phone number or something, and then when she needed to correct it, she had to type everything all over again. I was like, what's going on? Yeah. So the process took a long time. And then today as well, so we started around maybe 10 o'clock. Because yeah, the Gabriel guy was like 5 minutes late, and even my legal associate was 10 minutes late, because apparently she said they always start late, which was what happened with the case after us, because like I said, the system was like slow or something, because when she printed out this document, there was a weird name. It wasn't my name, obviously. It wasn't Gabriel's name. So the legal associate saw that, and she pointed that out. Even Gabriel's address was wrong apparently, and so she had to go in and just fix some stuff, go and print it. So I think we finished around 11, because I think she was supposed to start another case at 10:30, because even those guys came like knocking on the door like, hello, we're still here. So yeah, so those people's case started late, maybe 30 minutes later, meaning the subsequent cases would also start later. So because she told me in the past, when they went with the client, they waited like 2 hours apparently. So yeah, Profeco, government of Mexico, yeah, because you could tell everything is like stuck in like the 90s or something. It's like, because the Mexican government, they have stuff that they would rather invest their money on, not the basic government infrastructure. But anyway, But, and so when we got there, so the lady who took our case, so she was, okay, so Kava Construcciones, okay, so you are the owner of the company, yeah? I was like, actually, no. So this guy doesn't even own the company, which when I worked with my lawyers, they did research because, you know, they have like social security number, like tax ID number for every business. It took them a long time to find this guy's business. It took them a long time to find his business. But apparently now he's bankrupt because apparently his account was hacked, like I said, and it affected everything. And so he was bankrupt. He closed down his business. I'm like, what about the new client you told me you were going to get? And so from the money you get from these clients, then you'll be paying me back bit by bit. So you're just going to forget about possibly getting new clients so you can pay back your debt so you can at least get back on your feet. But anyway, so when we got there, this guy was making up more lies, telling me actually, because my legal representative was asking him, so okay, so issue with the bank, have you sorted it out yet? Was actually, yeah, so the bank said they can't help because it's a personal issue, because somebody used his token to take the money out, and it's somebody that he knows to take the money out. So, and then the girl was, okay, so have you gone after the person who stole your money? Like, have you, you know, taken legal action, like call the police on them, get them arrested or something? Or was actually, no, because I'm dealing with the bank. We're like, wait, but you said the bank. He was like, nothing was making sense. And he was making up excuses about how he spent more money on the demolition. And it was crazy. After the hearing, I showed the, you know, my legal representative how much I paid him for the demolition. She couldn't believe it. She was like, whoa, you paid this much? I was like, yes, I paid this much. And this guy was trying to charge me additional money on top of it because he told me they did more work, which I knew they did more work. But I asked him, okay, is this going to cost me extra? If so, how much is it going to cost me? This guy was like, oh, okay, let me take a look at the numbers and I'll get back to you. This guy never got back to me. He just went, he did the work, finished the work, and he told me, okay, yeah, so this project is done. We're done. Ready for the next phase. Like, if something costs you extra, and it was like significantly more. It was like maybe 70% extra, which doesn't make it's complete lie. 70% extra of what he had initially charged me for. Shouldn't you call the client and inform them like, yo, this is gonna cost you extra? No, because obviously he made money from what I paid him. He made significantly more money, right? But I knew, because I was just like, you know what? I knew obviously this guy, you know, gringa, foreigner, they think you're a fool. Okay, I mean, obviously. So this guy, like, he just went with the project, and now that we are suing him for the construction fraud, now he was bringing up, oh, the demolition, we actually spent more money. And then the friend of mine who went with me and the lawyers, they asked him, or they even told him, like, listen, that is a different contract. We're not even talking about that contract. Let's focus on the contract at hand. Let's focus on the construction contract, because that project was done. That, and then he was trying to make up excuses about how I paid him late, because remember I told you guys that, you know, his assistant will contact me like, hey, you're late, you're behind on your payment, and I'm like, are you crazy? Like, have you seen the work done? No, I'm not gonna pay you extra. But before I was actually paying them, but I was also deliberately paying late, because it's like, this project is like late because every week there's always stuff going on. And then my friend asked her, okay, so, but she paid you in November, like mid-November. Now we're in like January, like was towards the end of January, like early February. Actually, it was early February. Yeah, it was early February. So it's like, it's been over 2 months that she paid you this much money. So what have you used that money for? Even if she paid you like significantly much later than she was supposed to, at least you should have spent the money on something. Where is the money? What did you spend it on? So like you, and then he mentioned about my neighbor next door, like the owner of the land next door, who showed up and he asked them to stop construction, which I was like, this guy, like, also that pissed me off, because it's like, this guy is not the project owner, he is in the government. Why is he giving you guys so much authority? Like, why does he have so much authority as to pause this project? Like, I'm the owner of the project. It's not like, you know, there was a complaint, there was a civil complaint, and now the city sent it, they sent somebody to go shut down the project, because this happens a lot in Merida. They will just shut down the construction, shut it down. But it's like, this is a civilian, for crying out loud. Like, why are you guys pausing my project, which is already behind, right? But anyway, when I spoke to the guy, again, very reasonable guy, he just wanted things to be done. Like, he wanted his property to be cleaned up afterwards. That was pretty much, and just fix everything, put everything back where it was. Or maybe much nicer, because, there was like some garbage, a few things on his line before. So just as compensation, let's clean out my land. And then he was making up excuses about how this guy paused the project, he wouldn't allow them to work, and all these crazy things. And we just like, it was every time there's always something new going on. So even my legal assistant, her name is Lisette, she was like, yeah, this guy is not making any sense. Like, at this point, I mean, even though we are gonna sue him, obviously, but she was like, this guy, yeah, it's like he doesn't care. He feels like he could just walk away with your money and just. I'm just like, it's not a little bit of money that this guy owes me. It's this is a significant amount. If it's a tiny amount of, yeah, of course, you just walk away, because it's not worth the additional. Obviously, I still would have gone to Profeco, which, by the way, is free, right? It's a free service. But yeah, so at least they have that on file. Gone on the social media. Right now, I haven't gone on the social media, everything yet. I'm still doing the legal way. And so when we showed up at Profeco, the lady who took our case asked him, okay, can I see your tax ID? Can I see, what links you to your company? Okay, Kava Construcciones. This guy didn't have anything to prove. He didn't have anything to show. And so they fined him 6,000 pesos, maybe under $200 that they fined him. So they fined him that much money because because they gave him 3 strikes, right? They gave him 3 strikes for, I guess, for posing to be somebody else. So, well, for something like that, right? So, and then again, Profeco gave us another hearing, because he just came like, okay, so you owe somebody, you've admitted you owe them, right? Because he even mentioned at the case, okay, so I offered to continue with the project with her. She just has to pay for the materials and then pay the workers, and I'll supervise, right? I'm like, okay, but with what money am I supposed to use to continue with this project exactly, when you already have my money? But anyway, and so the lady asked him, okay, do you have any payment plan? It was actually right now, I don't have any payment plan. I don't even have any money. This guy was on his iPhone 15 Pro Max. While me, I just use one cheap, a cheap phone like that, a cheap Chinese phone. So I don't have any money, and he drives a truck, by the way. Trucks are very expensive in Mexico. Then so I don't have any money, so I can't say anything, I can't do this. So anyway, so Profeco gave us another hearing, which is like 6 weeks from now. So it's like the 10th of April, 2024. But by that time, we would have started the legal proceedings already. So legal proceedings are more serious. Like, they're gonna get the police, get him arrested, put handcuffs on him. They're gonna put a tracker, like a tracking device, I can't remember what it's called now, on his leg, and then be tracking him everywhere. Then he can't escape. So it's like really serious case. Pay your client, pay her back. If he doesn't, then he risks going to jail. And then we might go after his wife, who supposedly is supposed to be the owner of the company. So it's like we're doing both ways. The Profeco, at least they have, his name, company, everything on file, like this guy, because it's like, sometimes, they let criminals get away up until a certain point. Like, okay, so this guy has a criminal history. He did this to that person, and this other person. Okay, now let's strike. So he has a criminal record now, right, with this human rights organization now, and also they've also fined him as well. So if he doesn't pay that, again, that's another issue that he faces with them, and that could affect him personally. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. So this video was supposed to be about my experience with Profeco, Procuraduría Federal del Consumidor. So yeah, but pretty much, yeah. So I do have another case with them like 6 weeks from now. But in the meantime, we will start with the legal proceedings. So so I think with each case, each day that I meet up with my lawyers, I would have like a video diary to just record my experience here dealing with the legal system in Mexico, especially in Merida. So because I'm hoping and praying this doesn't happen to anybody, even though, like, you know, stuff happens all the time, right? So you just pray it doesn't happen to you, but when it does, now what do you do and what lessons can you learn from it? All right, so I will conclude this video at this particular point. And yeah, so if you have a similar experience, just share it with me, please, in the comment section. And any other tips, advice, or what have you that you will recommend, please do share it in the comment section below. All right, thank you so much for listening. I might break this video down into 2 parts, or maybe just post everything in 1 part. We'll see. All right, thank you. Bye bye.